Hey guys, welcome to our patron Q&A. I am really pumped to do this just because it's been a while since I've gotten to talk to you guys one-on-one, especially since I've been a little bit absent on Patreon and you guys have helped so much. You have no idea. I mean, part of the reason I can continue playing these games is because of you guys. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to afford some of these. I mean, let's be honest, games are pretty expensive nowadays. They're about like 60 to 70 bucks at times, and playing what, 4 a month, 3 a month, that's quite a lot of money. So you guys have been so awesome to me. I really have been shocked at how much you guys have donated. I want to make sure you guys are all okay and still happy and satisfied with the videos that I'm making. So this is fun. I'm excited to do this. So let's just get straight into it, guys. So the first question is from Sean, and he says, how did you get into streaming games? So technically, I'm not streaming, streaming is live stream, but I get what you're saying. You're asking, how did I get into making videos? Some of you probably already know, if you go way, way back into my first couple Q&As, why I actually started streaming games, but I think it's important, especially for all the new people that we have gained over the past month even has had a lot of people join the channel. I think it's important to reiterate why I started this in the first place. To sum it up, without it being a really long story, it does connect with my health problems that I have talked about in one of my videos, which are steadily, they're steady, they're stable. I'm okay, you guys. I mean, I still have my issues every once in a while with sitting for too long or doing certain things and waking up on certain days and chronic pain being a problem, but for the most part, they're stable. But all of this started way back then. So that was about 2 or 3 years ago when I did first get injured, and I basically was bedridden. I could not do anything, you guys, anything. I couldn't even really play games because playing games really requires you to sit up. I don't know if you've ever tried to play a game laying down completely horizontal, but it's like the worst thing ever. So because I was totally bedridden and I really couldn't sit up or do anything for months on end, I ended up watching a ton of YouTube videos, and a lot of those YouTube videos were people that were playing games. They were Let's Plays because it felt so personable, and I also have always enjoyed video games. I've always been in the loop of like what game is coming out next. Overall, I just loved the connection that YouTubers can have with their audience, and even if it's something where you might not know them in person, it really does help pull you through the really dark moments in your life. At least for me, it helped tremendously just to see the same face every day or every other day, or, to feel like when you have nobody else, when you are totally alone and no one can relate to you, you can't hang out with anybody, basically completely by yourself, to be able to even just take part in that person's life for even 2 seconds, it really helps get your mind off of you and the problems that you have and what you can and cannot do, and just, I don't know, like, when I think about it, it makes me so emotional because it helped so much. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm horrible at answering questions. A lot of times I say the word like a million times, but whatever, it's beside the point. When I did get through that really dark moment in my life, I realized the importance of social integration and how even if it is something where it's not direct contact, it's just, it's something to take your mind off of things, to experience anything else, even if it's through the eyes of somebody else. Not only that, but how awesome it is to share that experience among games where you can scream at the same things, laugh at the same things. It really is something special. So basically, I was like, why not? Why not give this a try? I'm passionate about video games. I'm passionate about the fact that everybody needs a community to be a part of. I think social integration is so important. And I do know that obviously I can't be there for everybody. That's not possible, but even if I can be there in the sense of just a video, giving somebody something to do for that moment in time, to take their mind off of whatever they're going through, means so much to me. So all in all, that's why I really started the channel in the first place, and the reason I continue the channel is because of you guys, because of my subscribers. You guys have been so supportive. It really is like so emotionally overwhelming sometimes. But I'm not gonna cry, so let's just move on to the next question. Sean asked, what are some of your favorite games? And I'm guessing the games that I've played for the channel. So I've really loved all of the games that I've played for the most part. I think all of them are different in their own means, but my favorite would have to be Shadow of the Colossus. I loved that game, you guys. I loved every second of it, and I know that it's kind of a hit or miss with people. Some people either really love it or they really hate it because there's no talking and you really have to take part in the environment and the characters. Oh gosh, Luca. There's just something so magical about that world. I just wanted to spend so much time in it, even though it was filled with nothing, and I've never experienced something like that before. I mean, there was no other life besides a couple birds and some skinks that were running around, but yet I still had such a memorable experience, and I think that is something special in and of itself. And obviously The Last of Us, because The Last of Us was a huge community gatherer. I got to connect with a lot of people through that game, and not only is it already a good game in and of itself, but it was kind of my introduction back into serious games again. Since I had all those health problems for about 2 years straight, and I'm still kind of going through them, the most serious game I had played was The Witcher 3, and during that time, I was basically laying horizontal, trying my hardest to play it by laying down. It was really tough, but that was probably the more serious game that I had played, and then for a while I just kind of stopped because I was watching other Let's Players play games, obviously. So because of that, I think I lost a little bit of my touch when it came to trying to use game smarts, you know, like I know that I'm not a pro at playing games. I know this, and people like to remind me about that all the time. So when I did start The Last of Us, I can say that I did pretty bad, okay? But throughout the whole game, like by the end of the game, I felt like I grew so much and learned so much about myself in a weird way, and like what I was capable of doing in game. It was really, it's interesting to think about that, because you know, it's a game about these people, and I was super intrigued with their lives, but it also helped me grow kind of as a person in myself. I'm sorry if I'm doing a horrible job at answering these. I'm kind of just winging it, okay? Sean also asked, can you explain your streaming process for an aspiring streamer? So I'm not by any means a professional at this. I don't know like all of the in-depth intricacies. It has been a huge learning process for me. When I did start out, I was basically recording with the PS4 and bought a camcorder. So this is a Canon Vixia, let me check. Okay, so it's a Canon Vixia HF-R80. And it does its job. I wouldn't say it's the best. Some people like to use DSLRs instead as a camera because the quality is bomb. You know, a DSLR looks really good, but I didn't really have the money at the time. I mean, they're really expensive cameras. So I did just get a little camcorder. It does its job. I'm a huge fan of Canons. If you're going to get a camera, I would recommend a Canon. But I didn't even have a mic. I was just using the camcorder's mic that whole time. And I got my little tiny side lamp. Let me see if I can find it. This one, it's so cute and little. It's a, oh wow, I can't even pronounce it. I'll have to just leave it down below. But this did its job for the time being. And that was pretty much it. That's the only thing that I used during filming. That's just how I started. I obviously had an editing software. I used Wondershare Filmora. It's super cheap. It's, I think, maybe about 60 bucks for a whole year, which is really, really cheap. But you know, as you get into the program, after you get over the beginner steps, you kind of see the things that it's missing in the software that maybe Adobe Premiere has, or its capabilities are better. But I really don't think that's necessary when you're first starting out. I think going on the cheaper side is a smarter way to do things. It's just not necessary to start out at like completely 100, the best equipment ever. Slowly, you guys have helped me upgrade all of that, make this seem a little bit more professional. You helped me get an Elgato capture card, so now instead of the PS4 recording the gameplay, I'm actually getting in-game footage from the Elgato, which of course I wish I could do 60 FPS, but I don't have the PC yet. I still have a laptop. PC is my next goal. Kenny asked, does knowing that you have to keep uploading videos to the channel make you play games more often than you used to? Or does having to upload the channel slow you down? That's a good question. I actually thought about this for a couple days because I was like, wow, That's a pretty intense question right there. Like, I have to think about it. I don't know if it's exactly fair, only because the reason why I didn't play games in the past, I had health problems, so I can't say that I can answer this genuinely. I didn't play games as often back then because I was watching Let's Plays. So I guess the channel has made me play games more often than I used to, just because I would used to just watch them instead of play them. But at the same time, sometimes the channel has slowed me down from playing a game. For example, I really wanted to play Far Cry 5 just in my free time, but I know that if I play it and I miss footage for you guys that maybe you guys would like to see, then I'm out that. So I can't really play in my free time as much as I used to. So I'd say it's kind of a balance. It has made me play games more often, but also not made me play games as often. Not because of having to edit or anything, just because I'm scared of missing footage that you guys would enjoy seeing, if you know what I mean. Muhammad asked, what kind of questions do you hate the most? Oh, okay. What kind of questions do I hate the most? I don't know if I hate a question. I guess maybe if we're taking this into real life, or are we asking, you know, what kind of questions on the channel do I hate the most? I think in my everyday life, my most hated question is, so where do you work? Only because I go to school full time and I'm making videos for you guys and I never know what to say. Before I was making videos, I was really just doing school full time because back then my health was so bad I really couldn't do more than one thing at a time. And so whenever somebody asked me that question, it was kind of like, oh great, now I have to let them down and look like I'm basically doing nothing, because, you know, that's how our society is built. You expect everybody to be going to school and working and you know, being the best businessman that they can. So when you say like, oh, I'm just doing school full time, then it leads into, oh, well, why don't you have a job? Or, oh, what do you plan on doing in the future? And then that goes directly into my health problems, me explaining why I'd wanted to do this, but I can't do that now. And yeah, it's just like one of those questions that people don't mean harm in it, and I'm not mad at anyone for asking me that question, but it just makes me feel like low, you know? Do you know what I'm saying? You're just kind of like, oh, great. Muhammad also asked, what have you always wanted? Did you ever get it? What have I always wanted? I have always wanted to travel. I would say if I had to pick anything that I've always wanted, like for the longest amount of time, it was to travel. Did I ever get it? No, I have not gotten to do that yet. I kind of did. I kind of got to go a little bit across the states, but I didn't get to spend a lot of time doing the things that I'd wanted to do back then, which would be hiking and going to the national parks and seeing all the wildlife and stuff like that, beaches. I didn't get to do that, but I'd also like to do more than just seeing the states. I want to see the world, essentially. So I haven't gotten to do that yet. Hopefully I'll get to do that sometime, and I'll take you guys with me so you can see all of it. If you had to choose to live without one of your 5 senses, which would you give up? Oh my God, Muhammad, what? How am I gonna answer this? Wow. Eyesight. Eyesight is so important to me. I'm blind, you guys. I wear contacts. I'm basically blind. I have an astigmatism, and that's why I have to lean so close to a computer to even put together an image. It's pretty messed up. One day, I need to get LASIK. Definitely wouldn't get rid of my eyesight, and I definitely wouldn't get rid of my feeling, because I'm always touching things. Like, a lot of you guys laugh at me because when I'm playing a game, I'm always like, oh, what's that? And what's this? And what's that? And I'm always looking at everything. This is how I am in real life. Like, if you take me on a walk in a park, I am constantly looking at things and touching things, like the leaves, and feeling the textures of different plants and trees and stuff like that. I'm actually that person. So I would not want to get rid of that either. So then there's smell, taste, and hearing left. And I love food, so I couldn't get rid of taste. There's no way. I would probably get rid of smell. Oh, but flowers. Oh, the smell of flowers. Wow, you guys. That's a really tough question, but I do think I would probably get rid of smell, because I want to be able to hear what I'm seeing. I want to hear the peacefulness of being outside and the animals that are around me, so wow, that's tough. But I know when you get rid of smell, you kind of lose part of your taste. So, but yeah, I think that's the one I'd have to go for. Let me know what you'd go for. That's a hard question. Arseny, I don't know if I've pronounced your name wrong. I'm sorry. You asked, how does it make you feel that you've created a Discord channel and united many of your viewers with it? It makes me feel so awesome. Honestly, it makes me feel so good. I got really emotional about a week or so ago, especially, you know, my dad was in the hospital. He's still in the hospital, actually. He's getting out soon, though. I think in like a day or two he gets out. But a bunch of people on the Discord got together and did something special for me, and I just like, I burst out into tears because it was so kind, and it makes me so happy when I see everybody chatting and talking with each other and meeting new people and making friends and relying on each other for when they're going through a rough time or they have something really special to tell, then they do that. Like, I don't even have to be there. I can just see it happening, and it makes me feel so good because that's my goal. It's not, I didn't want this channel to be just about me and you know, well, I want to be a part of this and you should be talking to me. I really wanted it to be about the community as a whole. So how you guys get along with each other and meet each other and experience new things. That makes me feel so good. It's like a proud mom, except don't call me a mom because it's weird. You also asked, is there something that can make you extremely nostalgic? Music. I don't even have to think for long about that question. 100% music makes me super nostalgic. Whatever I was listening to at a specific point in my life, the second you play that song, it takes me back there immediately. And I just remember everything. Favorite food and dish. That's a tough one because I have so much favorite food. I would say pizza, but it has to be dairy-free pizza, so I have to use vegan cheese. I know, it sounds gross, but it's the best I can do. Sushi. I love sushi, you guys. I love it. Terrence asked, if you could spend a day in any game as any game character, who would you be and why? I would be Geralt. Of course I would be Geralt. I love The Witcher 3. I'm obsessed with that game. I will forever be in love with that game and in love with him. I just love the whole world. I swear, the whole world. If I could be him and kill all those monsters and help save people, but also meet monsters that are, you know, have real feelings and just are misunderstood, that would be me. I would love that. How did you get started with creating art, and what's your favorite type to create? So, I don't know how I got started with creating art. My mom was an artist. She went to art school, and my dad actually was an artist too. So I think it was just, I was born that way. I was drawing since I was a little kid. And then as I got older, I did try to kind of start a career in artwork and selling artwork online before I got really hurt. Basically learned that it's really hard to do, you guys. It's super hard to do. It's super time consuming, and people don't really want to pay that much for a piece of artwork. And I see both sides. You know, art is expensive. Sometimes it's overwhelmingly expensive, but it also takes really expensive material to make and a lot of time, a very long amount of time to do it. Basically had to stop doing that because my health just didn't allow it, and now I'm getting more into the digital artwork, which is exciting for me. I've never done digital artwork before, but I think it's a really easy outlet for me just because I can actually lay down while I'm drawing on the iPad. I don't have to be upright with my shoulders up high. It doesn't hurt me like typical artwork does. But it also opens a whole new avenue for me and all these different methods of painting and drawing. I just need to get my style down. I still don't have a style to my artwork. I'd say the last one that I made with Ellie and Joel and Callus was more intricate. It was more like a painting than anything else, more realistic than cartoony. But even though it was still cartoony, it was more realistic for me. To explain the style that I wish and want to try to practice drawing because I love it so much, there's this gif of the main character in Far Cry 3. I don't remember his name, but I will insert a picture of it. And I love the way it looks. It just is so beautiful to me. That art style is so beautiful. That is what I would love to do. What was your first pet? My first pet? Oh, I guess that would have been, well, my first pet? Does that count a family pet? If it was a family pet, we had a Jack Russell Terrier. His name was Scrapper. When we put him in a crate, we put him on a bed of newspaper because, you know, small dogs, he wasn't potty trained, he was a puppy. And he would tear the newspaper into tiny little scraps everywhere and just throw them out of his cage. It was just like all over the place. So thus Scrapper was born. Then we started calling him Poe after the Teletubby, I'm pretty sure. So then he was Poe for the rest of his life. How did you get into gardening and what specifically do you enjoy about it? I've always really loved plants. I've always really loved a nice looking garden, but I don't think I started getting into it until I moved into the house I'm in right now, just because there's space here and, you know, I had to fill this house with stuff and I filled it with plants, as you can see in the background. But I think the reason why I really enjoy it is because, first of all, I think plants are beautiful. I think everything about nature is so perfectly put together. It's like this beautiful masterpiece of art. I don't know. I can't even begin to explain how much I don't like being around a city atmosphere and metal and concrete. I want to be out in nature as much as I possibly can. So peaceful to me and calming and grounding. I mean, just grounding. When I was a little girl, I was always out playing in dirt and grass and mud and stuff, so I've always kind of been that way. I just feel myself in nature. I feel calm for once in my life. I guess your question was really more oriented to gardening, but I think that kind of answers why I love gardening too. What are your favorite bands, musicians, and guilty pleasure bands, musicians? So I don't really know if I necessarily have a favorite band. I have a lot of bands I listen to and a lot of different things I listen to. So I just don't think I have a favorite. But lately I've been listening to Daughter a lot. Those were the band that primarily played for Life is Strange. Some of their songs are just so good. For a little while I really loved Tame Impala. Tame Impala was super good, but I got a little burnt out. You know, you listen to it too often and then you just can't anymore. I also really listen to a lot of piano type music. I listened to the Last Guardian soundtrack for the longest time after I played it because it's just beautiful. I don't know if I really listen to anything that I feel like is a guilty pleasure, to be honest. Like, even when I look at that list, I'm not embarrassed of anything, you know? I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Alcides. How has your life changed now that you are gaining more subscribers? Is it any different? I think it's different. Versus the beginning when there was a very small base, I could really keep in touch with a lot of you guys. Now that it's a little bit bigger, it's a little harder to keep in contact with everybody on a more person-to-person basis. It's just a little bit bigger, but really, I don't think my life has changed that much, to be honest, because it's not like it really affects my everyday life much. I do think a lot of times some people are a little caught up in how many followers they have or how many subscribers they have, and some people, and I'm not saying it's anybody that I know, but some people really kind of base that on how important they are, and I really don't feel that way at all. I don't think of it that way at all, you know. I just see it as what it is. I'm not doing it to have a bunch of subscribers. I'm just playing games with you guys. So for me, it is what it is. I'm happy that there are people that enjoy hanging out in the community, but I'm not basing it on my self-worth, if that makes sense. What is the tattoo on your left arm? Okay, so the tattoo on my left arm, I get that quite often, is I wish maybe I had waited. I got this at 19. I wish I had waited just a little bit longer. There's a tattoo artist in Australia that I would die to go to, and her art style is everything that is me. I'm not kidding. This, I feel like the art style doesn't really go with my personality as much as it did back in the day. But you know, things happen, you live and you learn. It's a koi fish with a bunch of lilies. It goes around the back onto my shoulder here. So it's a pretty big piece and I love it for what it is. I wouldn't change the fact that I have it. I would never get rid of it. Altering it though, I would maybe alter it. At the time I got this tattoo because I remember a day that stood out to me when my life was kind of kind of rocky. I went to a park and there were a bunch of lilies scattered all across this pond, and I was watching the fish and I just felt really at peace. So I decided to get that tattooed on my arm, and I think I maybe should have waited just a little bit before I did it. I think if I altered anything, I would maybe make the koi a snake, because I do love snakes more than I like fish. But other than that, I don't mind this tattoo. I forget it's there a lot. I also have this one right here, which is kind of hard to show you because it's wrapped around my wrist. It is a... Can you see it? I can't even tell if you can see it. Oh God. I can't show it to you. It doesn't show well. It's a sprig of lavender. I like this a lot better because it's a little bit darker. It's not so bright and bubbly colors. I really enjoy dull, muted colors a lot more. This tattoo is complete, by the way. Are you planning any longer sessions for when you are on vacation from school? So I don't know if I'm necessarily going to plan longer episodes of Let's Plays. I really personally think that an hour is a good amount of time for a Let's Play. I think I would maybe be uploading more often, or at least more consistently when school is out, just because right now everything is dictated by school. And also my family, because now I am helping my dad out every once in a while. But my laptop literally can't handle much longer than an hour on footage. It starts to just basically explode. Maybe if I ever get a nicer PC one day, there will be longer sessions, but I wouldn't say that they would be consistently that long. I like to play games for about an hour at a time and then take a break and refresh on a different day. Will you play online with your fans? I would, for sure. I don't think I have the means to do that right now. Like, I don't have the game to do that specifically. If there was a massive type of online game, that would be so cool to meet people that way. That would be so cool to me. So if that ever happens, or if there's ever a way to do that, I will definitely play online. What do you think of the Metal Gear series? I have not ever played it, actually, so I'm not really sure. I have no thoughts. Are you open to playing any old gen games on the 360 or PS3? So I do own a 360, but I don't know if I would necessarily play an older gen game, just because I can't even upload the nicest quality for the PS4 in-game footage that I would like to, just because my laptop is not up to par for filming. Like I've said a million times, I really need to get a nicer PC, which maybe you guys can help me build, because I do not know how to build a PC. So if I did play on the 360 with old gen graphics, they would look even worse, because I don't have the nicest equipment to have it looking super good. I don't know. I don't think I would mind playing old gen games, but for me right now, there's so many new games coming out and there's so much stuff I want to do and want to look at that I don't even know if it's really been a thought yet. So maybe. Noelle, if you could inhabit your boyfriend's body for one day, what would you do? Well, first I would probably go pee in a toilet like Ethan from Heavy Rain, because why not? Second off, I would probably go do a bunch of physical activity type things, like rock climbing. He loves rock climbing. He's a personal trainer, so he's super in shape, and I can't do that stuff because my body is broken. I can only work out, you know, specific things so that I don't hurt myself, whereas he can just go crazy, you know? So I think it would be really fun to just lift things and do things that I normally can't do. I mean, there are times where it blows my mind the amount of hand strength that he has. I'm just like, I can't even open this bottle of whatever in the fridge and he comes over and he's just boop and it's off. Dolphin, what's your favorite films of the past year? My favorite films of the past year. That's interesting because I don't know if there were any from the past year that really stuck out to me. Logan was a good movie. It was. That was a really good movie. I think Okja was a pretty good movie. It was on Netflix. It was kind of like one of those really funny movies that's also eye-opening for how we treat animals and how we treat a lot of things in our world right now. Get Out was a great thriller. I loved it. I loved it. And I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't seen it, but the ending of that is just like, it's just great. What are your favorite films of all time? Woo, you are asking some tough questions. Favorite films of all time. I loved The Prestige. I thought that was a great movie. Interstellar was phenomenal. I will forever be a Pride and Prejudice fan. It makes me cry every single time. The Place Beyond the Pines is such a good movie with Ryan Gosling. X Squirrel asked, Have you ever played the Mass Effect and Dragon Age trilogies, and did you like them? I did not ever play Mass Effect. I played one of the Dragon Age ones. It was Dragon Age Inquisition, and I got probably about halfway through it, and someone deleted it off of my console, so the game was just gone, and I didn't want to replay it, you know, after having it. And I mean, they deleted the save file, so like I couldn't just re-download the game and play it again. So I was pretty upset about that, but during the time that I played it, I enjoyed it. I did think that there were a couple moments where I felt like it wasn't as open as it should be in-game. Like it felt a little strange, but the story and the intricacy of how you could communicate with the characters, I really enjoyed. What game are you most looking forward to this year? I think I know the answer. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption, hands down. That is my most anticipated game. I really hope it's good, you guys. I really hope it's good. Give me a horse, please. Shane, if you had 3 wishes, what would it be? Woo! 3 wishes. Oh, 3 wishes. That is tough, you guys. I think my first wish would have to be smart. My first wish would be being able to find my dream home in wherever its dream place would be. You know, whatever state, wherever, having that plunked down and having land and yeah. So like a stable home life, pretty much. I think that's a smart choice. I guess my second wish would be, why wouldn't you wish for infinite funds so that you could go travel and do stuff? I think that would be pretty cool. And my third wish would be for all the people and animals in my life to find happiness, you know? Because it can't be all about myself. I already got 2 wishes. I think the rest of them should be about everybody else. So yeah, that was the last question. And I'm sorry that this was like a pretty long Q&A. There were a lot of questions that I maybe went off the rails a little bit with, but that's just, I don't know. It's hard for me to stay on topic sometimes. But you guys asked some really good ones. There were a lot that I had to really think about, that I feel so deeply about. They're hard to answer. I'm not really great with words. I'm really a lot better with writing. So it's kind of nice to try to articulate myself a little bit better. But yeah, I really had fun with this, and I'd like to see your answers down below to the same questions. Again, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all your support. You really have helped me so much, and I'm so grateful for that. Thanks for watching, guys.